code, bringing code from the Torah. They're using the names of the Torah. There are many parts from the Torah that are in the Quran word by word. They're speaking about Abraham, speaking about Sarah, Jacob. They're even speaking about King David, which is already 300 years after the Torah was given. All the sages and the prophets of the Jews are mentioned in Islam. They'll never claim that the Jews never received the book from God, which they call Allah. They just claim that there was another angel that received another book, which they call the Torah. I would like to start with Islam. As I mentioned before, Islam is just a little bit less than 1400 years ago. And when we review the Quran, actually before we review the Quran, we need to know a few important details about the beginning of Islam. There was a person named Muhammad. One day he walked in the desert. As he returned from walking in the desert, he claimed that Angel Gabriel gave him the Quran and nominated him to be a new prophet. When we review the Quran, one very interesting fact about the Quran is we don't find prophecies in the Quran. A prophet is someone that gave prophecies for the far future, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years later. But in the Quran, we do not find any prophecy. So that's interesting why he was named the Prophet Muhammad. Second, how many witnesses did he bring that the angel really gave him the Quran? Not even one witness. As the Quran himself testified, it started with the story of one person. Every story that starts with one person, we have to agree that right away there is 50-50 chance. 50% chance that he says the truth, 50% chance that that's not exactly what happened. When we review the Quran, we find a story that Pharaoh and Haman sat together with their advisor, and Pharaoh was speaking to Haman. They were thinking, they're making all kinds of plans. That's in Surah 28, 838. That's the source. And also in 4036-37. And you can find right there that they're speaking about the tower. Pharaoh say, Haman, please create for me a tower that I can go all the way up to heaven to look into the eyes of God, of Moses, and all kinds of interesting things. The interesting part is that if we know history, Pharaoh lived about almost 1,000 years before Haman was born. There's no way in the world that Pharaoh and Haman sat together around the table with their advisor. So whoever wrote that book had a mistake in the chronological order of the generations, and the story was made that Pharaoh and Haman sat together, which is something that is impossible. Another error that we find over there is that the wife of Pharaoh is raising Moshe. And since they admitted that the Torah was given to the Jews by God, in the Torah it says clearly that the daughter of Pharaoh is the one who raised Moshe, but the other daughter of Pharaoh, not the wife of Pharaoh. So that's another critical mistake. Then, as another error, mixing between Miriam, the sister of Moshe and Aaron, to Miriam, Mary, the mother of Jesus, which is 1,300 years later. There's two different Miriams, but according to the Quran, it's the same woman. That appears in Surah 19, 27 and 28, and they say clearly Miriam, the sister of Aaron. They're speaking to her, how is it possible that you're pregnant if you don't have a husband? And then they say right after that in Surah 66:12, Maria, the daughter of Amram, which leaves no doubt that they're speaking about the sister of Aaron and Moshe, and she's, according to the story, the mother of Jesus, which is impossible because there are 13 years difference. Now this is just to give us an idea. If a book is divine, we cannot find any errors in the book.